Okay, go ahead and call the meeting to order. We'll start with a roll call. McKee here, Lanterman
Here.
Friedrich
Here.
Barenkamp
Here.
Nichols.
Here.
All right, everyone is here. If you'd like to stand and join in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, agenda approval. Looks like we had modifications / updates to 6I and 12A.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, just to clarify, 6I had identified enterprise funds as a future funding source, and the staff report was just changed to say that we do, in fact, we need to get this piece of equipment ordered and save $50,000. And we have different varying funding sources to consider when the time comes to pay for it, but it would violate our interfund loan policy if we were to use the enterprise funds, so that language was removed.
Okay.
And when it comes time to pay for it, we'll identify the funding source.
Sounds good. Anything else?
And then on item 12A, we have added the week of May 14th is National Public Works Week, and we saw this as a good opportunity too to talk about some things with Public Works that we don't always get to talk about, particularly things like gravel roads, changes within Public Works with utilities. We saw it as a good opportunity to talk about Public Works operations in ways that council doesn't always get to do. And so exactly how that's going to play out, they're still ironing that out, but it seemed like a good opportunity since it's actually Public Works Week.
And we had a work session already scheduled.
We had a work
right?
session
Perfect.
scheduled.
So it's just filling in what it is.
Correct.
Cool. And that's it from staff. Anything from council?
Just real quick, so I don't need to pull 6I, everything is proper in that, or do we?
It has been repaired.
Okay, oh, I had that as one of the things
Okay.
that was pulled.
Oh, me too.
Sounds good.
Are we on 6?
Nope, not yet.
Okay.
If there's nothing else in terms of agenda approval, I will entertain a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
That passes unanimously. Presentations. I'm not looking forward to this because it's me talking.
So Mayor and Council, really pleased to share before you don't hit go yet. Staff was working diligently to try and internally develop a video that could communicate some of the things that are going on with the Civic Campus project. And we were really happy to find out that this fell within the scope of our agreement with BKV. And they have a much more robust capability in terms of production teams and stuff like that. And so this is the first that will be in a series of videos. So this is a 90-second video that just tells the Civic Campus story as an intro. And the timing of this, it will go out tomorrow as a predecessor to the surveys that will be hitting residents' mailboxes. It should land in the mailboxes next week. And it's referenced in the survey to try and point them towards the video. So there's a link that they can take off of the survey, or they can go to the website. But then we have several other videos that will be developed here in the coming months that are going to tell some other nuanced stories, history of Corcoran in terms of our facilities, services that we deliver. And so we have not yet gone into developing the script. If you have particular ideas that you would like us to focus on, please let me know so that we can include those within the scope. But the plan is similar videos, not long in duration, to provide as much information within the platform. But this is the first, and there we go.
Ready?
Yep.
Since 1855, the community of Corcoran, Minnesota has prided itself on strong stewardship of our people and our public spaces, with regular updates to our facilities and services that our residents rely on. Corcoran's population has grown by more than 50% over the last decade and is projected to continue to grow as more families and businesses call our community home. We're always trying to walk that tightrope of keeping the roots of our community of being a small agricultural community with the new development that we've seen over the last decade, but increasingly so in the last 5 or so years. We're trying to continue that small town feeling while growing the capacity that we need to serve the residents that we have and that growth that we've been seeing in the last decade. This growth has created significantly more demand for city services. Recent independent assessments of key facilities for the city showed that our spaces like City Hall and Police Department are about 41% smaller than recommended for a city of our size. At City Hall, overcrowding impacts service and requires many records equipment and supplies to be stored off-site at additional costs. At the police department, a lack of space for evidence storage, detainee holding, and officer training impacts the safety and wellness of our local law enforcement. To ensure quality public services for our residents in the years to come, the city is planning to build an all-new City Hall and public safety facility, just south of the current City Hall. The building will be located on land already owned by the city, where key utilities and road infrastructure are already in place, saving an estimated $6 million on construction costs. With this project, we're committed to strengthening community safety and providing long-term value to our residents for years to come. Visit corcoranmn.gov for more information and a schedule of upcoming public meetings. We encourage you to join us, ask questions, stay engaged, and join us in the planning process.
So this will go out tomorrow on social media and will be accessed as part of the survey process. So the first of what we anticipate to be 5. But yeah, I'm pretty proud of, without BKV, we could not have delivered something like that.
They just hooked me up to a mic and told me what to say, and it turned out pretty good, so.
It was pretty incredible, like the shooting schedule, they had a team here and it was B-roll all across the city from 8 a.m. until 5 p.m.
Yeah.
that day. So the amount of effort that goes in to make a video like that, to make sure that we've hit all of the things that were identified within the script, really grateful to have had the partnership.
Yeah,
It's a cool add-on
nice
that we
piece.
didn't
Really
know
good.
about.
So that's it for that.
Cool,
Next
cool.
on the agenda.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. Next thing. Open forum.
Don't let it go to your head, Tom. Popularity.
I've received no emails, cards, or letters.
All right, anyone from the audience want to speak at open forum? Nope. Then we will move on to item 6, which is consent agenda. We have items 6A through 6K. Does anyone want to pull anything?
I would like to pull 6K.
6K. Mark.
And I'd like to pull 6G and 6I, just for clarification.
6G and 6I, Michelle. Okay, I will entertain a motion to,
6C, please.
6C, sorry about that. Good call. Anything else? I will entertain a motion to approve consent agenda items A, B, D, E, F, H, and J.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Do we miss K?
That was pulled.
That was pulled.
Yep.
Okay.
So we'll go alphabetically, and Jeremy, C.
I just wanted to take this chance to recognize a approximately $2,500 contribution towards the Heritage Park project
Good
from
catch.
Kathy Drevis. Kathy has attended virtually almost every meeting that I've ever observed. She's extremely engaged in the city. Is she on right now?
She might be, because
We can't tell.
I've told her for years that if there was a gold star for attendance at city council meetings, she gets it, because she has been to commissions and council meetings and involved in the park stuff, especially for my whole time here.
So I want to thank Kathy for her
Yeah.
contribution and
Thank you,
encourage
Kathy.
her to apply for the Charter Commission
Yeah.
opening. which
Or
we
the
have
Parks and Trails
several of,
Commission
Or the
opening.
Parks and Trails Commission opening, because clearly
She'd be
she
great.
has a passion for the city and would like to serve. And great opportunity available right now. So thank you.
Thanks for recognizing that. That was on my list, and I somehow missed it, so good catch, Jeremy. Entertain a motion to approve consent agenda item 6C.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Perfect. On to G. Michelle.
Yeah, I was just gonna mention on the resolution, under the now therefore be it resolved, we just need to take out the BY. So it would read, now therefore be it resolved, the City Council of the City of Corcoran, Minnesota designates the addition, designates, it's just one word.
Where is it? I'm sorry.
It currently says be it resolved by the city council and.
Just take out by, so it reads more smoothly.
Resolve the city council.
Just in the second, or the bold above number 1, take out the by.
Yeah.
Here, put me in quick. Right
I mean, I think it worked, yeah, I mean, I think we can do that.
right there.
Do we need a motion to change it, or can that be done administratively?
I think it's just a clerical.
Yeah, that can be done.
Perfect. So with that note,
I'll make a motion to approve.
Perfect. Do we have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
There's an English teacher somewhere who's giving you a high five.
And Michelle again on 6I.
Yes, I was just hoping we could get some clarification on the estimate portion for that item.
Sure, on the single, it's a single axle dump truck. It's the same price that we recently purchased with our 2025A bond. It's the price that we had is $348,274.90. So the request was $350, just to be a little conservative, and then that does not factor in resale. We will be trading that in, so it will probably be closer to $300 when we bring that back through. We just need to reserve our slot in line as described in the report.
Okay.
And I believe that's a state pricing, state contract.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Out of curiosity, how long does a dump truck last for us?
So I can send out our cycle. It has to be over 10 years. I want, is it 15, Pat, or what do we?
Got them on a 10 or 12-year cycle right now.
Pretty good.
Thank you.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve item 6I.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All right. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay. And then, yeah, thank you. 6K, Mark.
So until this morning or yesterday, this policy had been kind of attached at the hip with the longevity policy. I would like to see them put back together because I think it makes sense to just discuss both of them together in one setting. I had thought that the most appropriate setting was in a closed session. I don't know if, I don't know why that wouldn't be acceptable. That would be my preference. Otherwise, at a future, maybe a work session, put the two back together and have a single discussion about the two policies.
So on an administrative side, it's budget neutral. The only thing that changed with this is the allowable rollover in order to align with the CBA. And staff's request would be to not delay on this because administratively, putting this in place is going to create an administrative disparity in terms of how we're handling some employees. And so by delaying this, some employees currently aren't allowed to roll over, or how they institute the process. This was to align the process with the CBA with the process that we had, and the only change really was the rollover. There was no material change.
With
And
the
this
police
doesn't-
CBA?
Yes.
What does this have to do with the police CBA?
The language of the police CBA had asked for a rollover, and so we were trying to align them, and since it was branch or financially immaterial, there was no change in cost.
Can I ask a clarifying question? So we budget, sorry, go ahead.
I'm sorry. But that's why I want these two policies to be discussed at the same time, because I don't understand why the police CBA applies to city employees outside of that bargaining unit. So I was hoping to do that in a different setting. I'm prepared to discuss it in depth now. I'd rather not, and I'd rather, I get that it's going to be delayed. I get that, but that's part of my issue, is that we have a CBA with the police department. I don't know why their negotiated benefits have anything to do with other city employees.
So to speak just to this one, the changes related to recruitment and retention, having it not be taxable was actually a request of the city in order to make us both compliant with IRS rules and also alleviate so related to the CBA. That's why that happened as a change. In this case, the only change, there's no change to the cost. It's just the change to, so the $1,500 is budgeted year over year, and it's just allows the rollover. And so I understand your point that, as I hear you saying it, is that you feel that non-union employees shouldn't be treated the same way as union employees. that's what I
No,
just
that
heard you
isn't
say.
what, no, that
Okay,
isn't
yes.
at all what I'm saying. What I am saying is our police department negotiated a CBA with certain benefits, with certain conditions, and that CBA is between the city and the police department. It doesn't say, I mean, it's not every city employee works for the police department. So I don't understand why the CBA has anything to do with all of our other city employees, and I want to have,
Okay.
a bigger discussion about this, because I think it's a problem.
In this one, it's a request of staff because we're administratively, it makes it easier to manage the recruitment and retention the same, and it not being material, I saw it as a simple policy
But
change.
I do see it as being material, because we are assigning benefits from the police CBA to other city employees.
This is already a benefit they have.
Already
Yeah.
there.
Oh, this,
This is a benefit they've had
Already
for
there.
2 years.
okay,
It's just
so,
the only
so
change
the
to it
only change is
the
tax or
rollover.
not tax?
Yep.
The
To
CBA
get
changed
the same.
to non-taxed. It's always been taxed for cities' employees.
Well,
So the only change in this case is the rollover. That's literally the only change.
I'll tell you, I would be okay with that as long as there's no reference to the CBA, because I don't see what one has to do with the other.
I
And
don't,
if-
I
and if
don't
we-
recall it referencing the CBA.
Okay,
I'm
as
doing a
long as
quick
it
cursory.
doesn't, then I'm fine with that.
Yeah,
I don't believe
it
it
does
does.
not reference the
No.
CBA.
Okay.
And the only change to the policy, this has been a 2-year policy, is the allowance of a rollover in order to have coherence in how we're administering it. But there's no material change, and there's no substantive change to the rest of the language.
Yeah, I just want to be clear that if I support this, I'm not agreeing that non-police department
Oh.
employees are covered by the
There was
CBA.
one other change, so it didn't used to clarify that you had to work for the city for a minimum of 6 months. And that's been added in terms of a requirement that someone to be eligible, because we had some instances in which that lack of clarity created a problem for the city.
Seasonal?
Yeah, I just want to be clear that the CBA is for the police department and its officers. It's not intended to give additional benefits to every city employee.
In this case, this is just an update of an
Yeah.
existing policy that's been in place for 2 years.
Right? When is longevity going to be on the agenda?
There's a request to have at the end of this, I was going to request that we have a personnel committee to discuss that, and then the personnel committee would determine when we were ready to bring that forward.
Okay. So it's not currently scheduled to
Correct.
come before? Okay, thank you.
All good? Okay. I could I'll entertain a motion to,
My question was answered.
oh, did you have something? still?
I
Sorry,
did, but
Jeremy.
Jay answered my question in the
Okay.
context of the discussion.
Good deal.
Can I ask one quick question?
yes.
Just to clarify, on page 3, on one of the points, it's not implicitly clear, and I think in a policy, it should be really, really clear. It's the part that talks about, let's see, it would be the 1, 2, third bullet down. After accruing eligibility for the maximum reimbursement amount of $3,000, an employee will cease accruing a reimbursement balance until the year after that employee's submittal of a reimbursement form.
Is
Caps
there a
little over
proposed
3,000,
correction?
Right?
Yes.
What would you like it to say? Or what?
Just to specify, because to me that reads that until, they wouldn't receive another, they couldn't do another reimbursement until the year after. It would be the new year, right? So like if I submitted a $3,000 reimbursement in December, 3,000, my new year would start January 1st
Correct.
for the next $1,500 reimbursement,
Correct.
right?
So until the calendar year, maybe?
Maybe.
Yeah, I'm open to suggestions on how we could meet your desired intent.
Does it align with calendars, or does it align with the date of
So
hire?
eligibility happens at the beginning of the fiscal year every year.
Not related to date of hire?
They have to get an employee for a minimum of 6 months. That's been clarified now.
Okay, got it.
But then that accruing the maximum reimbursement, they do that, like in the example Michelle gave in December. That new year as January.
So if in December of 2027, I roll over my 2026 eligibility into 2027, and I used all of it in 2027 of $3,000 on January 1st of 2028, I should be eligible for $1,500.
Gotcha.
Because when I read that, it sounds like you have to wait for an entire year until after your submittal.
So,
That's how
is there a suggestion on how we'd like
I
to
think
change it?
calendar year would resolve it.
Okay,
Yeah.
so, after the reimbursement balance until the calendar year,
After the employee's submittal.
well, that I think, that's confusing too, until,
The following calendar year?
Until January 1st.
there, yeah.
How does the 6 months work? So is it like the year after you've been there for 6 months, or at the 6 months, then
It
you get?
depends on when your eligibility is. So say, for example, I hired in February. 6 months after I've been hired, then within that year, I'd be eligible for $1,500. If I started in December of 2026, I would not be eligible for a 2026 recruitment and retention.
Okay.
No, that's what we talked about. Perfect.
Okay. So those changes, do we need a motion on that, or
I've got it, as long as.
direction good enough?
When
We're all
you
good
make the motion in terms of approving the policy, you say incorporating the changes as recommended.
I'll make a motion to approve consent item 6.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. With incorporating the changes discussed that Jay has noted. Second, any discussion? No, it's consent. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Perfect. Okay, on to unfinished business. 8A, we have a civic campus update and resolution 2026-31 authorizing engagement of professional services contract.
So first off, Mayor and Council, I would just like to say that thank you for encouraging me to do the AI training. I think it has
You've gotten
helped
a
me
lot out of
sharpen my skills, much to I was not excited about it, but I think it has helped me sharpen the axe. And I'm really happy to say that we had 12 city employees that completed AI training last Friday.
May I show the image that you sent me from day one of the training?
You may, sir.
I just wanted to show to council, and maybe we can get it up on the video.
No, we don't need to put it on the videos.
But Jay sent me this as his contact info, or his contact picture now, if I can find it, here it is, of his skills day one of the training. Pirate Jay. For those listening, it is Jay as an awesome looking pirate.
Arg.
So,
I
that was
AI
day one.
I was an AI pirate. But also what came out of that last Friday, before I jump into this, is a draft that we will be bringing to you of an AI policy. So while we are trying to leverage these skills, it's also important for us to be very clear what we can and cannot do with AI within the municipal realm. And so we have an initial draft of that, and we'll be refining that to bring that to council in the weeks ahead. But I think to a person, everybody recognized the potential value, even if it's just as a thought generation space to try and get some different ideas. And then in the last weeks, we've had some fantastic conversations. But also it's important to note that the best tools are not free. And so we're also trying to be wise as we assess the landscape. And if you watch social media, some of those tools are actually cause for concern. There's been compromise with some of those tools. And so we are treading carefully, but it's important to note that as a city, for particularly a city our size, we're probably in the top 1% of the state right now with choosing to do that. There's only a handful of other cities that have leaned forward that far at this point. Consequently, we need to be very discerning about how and when we implement those tools, because there is a lot of potential risk. But in this case, it was drawing pictures. And so this is the briefing for you all today, a blueprint for stewardship, safety, and community. So AI tried to help me out with this, but the data is skewed. The 11,300 is actually, coming from some sources that I don't think give us complete accuracy. I actually believe by 2030, we could be as much as this projection or higher.
It could
And
be
by,
as soon as next year.
yeah, so we could hit 11,300 by the end of 2027. We're just shy of 10,000 right now.
I thought we were at 8,600?
That's one projection, but when we sat down using some different tools, we're currently estimating a little over 9,700
Really?
as of December.
And that one checks out more than.
Yeah, so
Okay.
but the challenge is, we're not gonna get solid data, and this is important if anybody's watching this, and we will not be a confirmed city of 10,000 until the 2030 census.
Right.
Because there won't be
An
that
official
kind of
count,
accurate official data.
And that's when our garbage bills will go up.
And so all of the implications of becoming a city of 10,000, we will not have a validation until the 2030 census.
Okay.
But current projections are that we will hit 10,000 before the end of this year. Actually, probably closer to July. So that implication is, well, it says 50% growth, it's actually higher than 50% growth of what we've been experiencing. And then that has a lot of second and third order effects in terms of implications on service delivery and expectations of services as new people come from other communities, what they want for services, what they've come to expect from services, and what we're capable of delivering for services. Consequently, with the growth that we've had, we've also, if you recall, we had to get rid of the community space at a certain point, and with the growth that we've had, this overflow is absolutely appropriate, that we're 41% short of the spaces that we need right now. We're in dire straits just for City Hall and the police department. If you recall from the facilities condition assessment and from the space needs analysis, we've identified other areas that we're short. We're just focusing this conversation on City Hall and the police department. We're 41% short on space right now, based on nationally recognized experts of cities our size. In terms of police or public safety operations, these three areas are of significant concern. Other agencies our size have these capabilities, and the shortfalls in these capabilities impact our operations significantly. The reason this is highlighted is because for our community project funding, this was the #1 request that we submitted to Congress, and this is within the scope a top priority as we look at the police facilities in particular. There in the background is I plugged into AI. If we were to do the totality of the training facility and what we need for the City Hall and public safety, that's a rendering that AI provided of what those square footage requirements could look like. So I thought that was interesting. And this would be looking from the north.
The other building's St. Therese, right?
That is St. Therese across the street. And so as we went and we visited 8 different facilities, staff has come to the conclusion that with a roughly 11-acre site, a 2-story design would allow us to maximize space, but then also reduce some of our, by reducing our footprint, reduce some of our costs in terms of what you need for a roof, and then that would also allow for some flexibility on the site if there's any future need. And so I have that in the end, reducing construction sites. It was mentioned in the video, by choosing this site on Cindy Center Drive, it has allowed us, if you remember a little over a year ago, just a moment, sir, we looked at land acquisition. It had been appraised at $4 million. The property owners wanted at least $6 million, and we chose to forego that. So this choosing to use this site has allowed us to avoid acquisition costs for land and instead put that money into a facility that would deliver services. And then the other parts of that, when we looked at the northern park site along County Road 10, there's going to be significant infrastructure needs in terms of pulling the trunk line sewer and required turn lanes from the county that would put us at least $2 million. So that says $6 million, as the mayor and I have talked about that, it could be even as much as $10 million in terms of this site being a good site for us that we own. You had a question, sir?
I had a question there. If 2 stories is better than 1, have we assessed if 3 stories is better than 2?
I have not seen a 3-story city hall of any site that we've looked at in Minnesota, so it has not come up before, honestly.
I'm just curious if that would be worth checking.
Operationally, I'd have to think about that.
I don't know that it would give us much of a cost benefit.
But for future capacity, like if in 20 years there's another need to expand, you could potentially put another 3-story building on the same site. Maybe you couldn't do that with 2-story. And we have no height limitation in this zone, right? I mean, this is intended to be a higher density development area.
One of the things I think operationally is a 3-story site becomes a little bit challenging. That people become more reliant. Is your city hall 3 stories in Ridgefield?
We have a basement though that, like,
Yeah, so it would have a basement, so I guess technically it would be 3 stories.
Okay.
So it'd be 2 stories above ground with a 3rd story below ground. That hadn't come up as a question.
I mean, I'm just thinking of it schematically. Public safety, 1st story. Public space, 2nd story. City operations, 3rd story. Might be one way to think about it.
that might be kind of cool.
As we visited the 8 facilities that we have, the model that I think staff has really liked is our most public-facing departments are community development and engineering, public works. And we've seen several spaces in which those have on the 1st floor easy to access to the public engagement areas to engage with the public. And then oftentimes the adjacent police department also then has oversight of that 1st floor if you have anything. Shared lobbies is something that makes a lot of sense for us in order to try and reduce some of our costs. But as you enter the CGIS environment for the police department, there's some requirements there in terms of design of the space. So if you were to, for example, put the police department on the 1st floor, it can make it difficult to get above because that, wherever they're at, that CGIS environment becomes a secure space that other employees can't enter.
I think you could still look at something like that though.
I'm not saying we can't, I'm just, as I'm thinking
Yeah.
off the
We could
cuff.
bring it up to the cross team,
Yeah, so
but
I'll
agree,
raise the
I haven't
question.
seen
3rd story, we haven't seen any.
Which is kind of cool. Be first for us again.
Yep. Any other questions thus far?
The only thing, and while I agree on the footprint and everything that we're needing to build out, to the 87% is needed for 20-year capacity and stuff like that. If this all happens when we occupy the new building, that doesn't mean fill the place up and then we run out of space. Am I saying it right? If we need 50% of it, that's all we should populate. The rest we don't use for storage, we don't anything. It grows into as the city grows.
Well, it depends
am
on
I saying it right?
how the design is. They're going to schematic design. So that presumes, your description there presumes that you build a shell that's big enough for the 20-year problem. Another alternative is you build a current space and then you either add, so one of the things that I thought
Yep.
about is I've lived other places where you do the foundation, like I lived in Egypt. You do the foundation to be a 3-story building, but you don't build the 3 stories today. Or you leave capacity on the campus to add other wings, expand to the north, south, east, or west as is appropriate as your needs grow. One of the models, as we talk to many different cities, is they repurpose spaces over time. So you recognize that you need this many spaces for projected staffing in 2000, whatever, 20 years from now. And so you have, Chanhassen would be a great example. We just visited, they just opened their campus last September. They have quite a few presently available to the public conference rooms. But the plan is, over time, as those conference rooms need to be converted in order to serve as office space or other service areas, they've intentionally designed it so that they can transition to other purposes in the future. So that's the way that they have activated the space today rather than paying for dead space.
Yeah, and that's the mindset that I'm looking for and such. If you end up with, you only need 6 drawers and you buy an 8-drawer cabinet, all 8 drawers are full just because you got cabinets. So if you have things set up and you've got a cubicle area and you've got 10 unoccupied cubes for future growth, so be it. But if it's used for something else, everybody needs to realize, just like this place. I think it was originally designed to have 6 or 8 people in it, and look what you got. Just keep that mindset. So.
Yeah, ability to activate today so that it's providing benefit and service to the community with flexibility to adjust to emerging demands.
You're on it. Cool.
So it's been in the long-range financial plan, and we recognize that external funding can help reduce the pressure on the taxpayer and fulfill operational requirements. Because as we talk about bonds, we need a new facility, and there's also a financial burden to it. So it's a push-pull portion of that. External funding, we'll get to that. What we've requested and what some of those decision points will be related to external funding. So here we are. Currently, we've submitted $30.6 million in targeted external funding. $10 million of that is in state bonding that Chief Gottschalk and Mayor McKee testified a week ago.
Yeah, about.
In the House, we're not sure that there is a state bill as well. Not sure if the state bill is going to have any hearings or testimony.
Senate, you mean?
It says Senate,
Yeah.
thank you. Yeah. I'm not sure if the Senate is going to have hearings right now. As we've asked, it doesn't look like they're going to.
I brought that up with other mayors in the area that have bonding requests too, and they've heard the same thing, that it might not. So it might just be a floor vote.
So that state bonding request is at 10 million, and then 18.6 million. I'm going to break it down in the next slide that shows how that breaks down, and then $2 million in congressionally directed spending. Couple important gates. The state bonding bill will know by mid-May, because the legislative session will end, whether or not state bonding will happen with this legislative session, and we could potentially have another swing at it in the summer if they don't do a state bonding bill, where there'd be an appetite that we could potentially try again. It's important to note that we have 12 great partners that have submitted letters of support, other agencies, both at the county, multi-county level, and several other municipalities and agencies.
I believe one more is coming in, if it didn't today.
Excellent.
Growing.
So what it's validated for us is the focus on creating a regional ability to collaborate is valued by a lot of our neighbors and a lot of other agencies. It's a different model than what exists, and it can complement what exists within the region.
Could you forward those letters to us?
Absolutely.
Could we see them? Okay.
I believe it's Loretta that's coming in.
And this is how it breaks down. So the 10 million in state bonding is called, so the master was not included in the submitted bill. That was one of our bill writers' preferred names. We tried a couple of different names for this regional West Metro facility concept. That was the one they liked, but it didn't make it into the bill. We're actually happy about that.
No, I can sleep over it.
But some key components of, well, I think that comes down later too, so we'll pack out what those components are. I just took that same request and I replicated it for one of our submissions for community project funding, because we had great collaborative partnerships on it. It's pretty turnkey. It's not going to score as well on community project funding. I just was doing some assessment on recent conversations related to it. So each congressman was allowed to submit 20 projects. 3 of Congressman Morrison's projects are ours, and those are those 3 projects. Community spaces breaks down into roughly 3 components. One is called intergenerational commons, what some people might call a community room, but it has some more nuances to it than that. Another one was recognizing the degree of businesses out of people's homes to be able to offer some of those spaces where they could come in and potentially sign up to use a conference room to have a meeting. And then that could potentially go in the future. So to get back to Councilmember Behrenkamp's point, like that's a way that we could offer something to them today that if in the future we needed to activate it for other spaces, other reasons, gives us some flexibility, but it could really serve the community well today. And then the last component was the campus outside in terms of having a great outdoor space and community gardens. And that topic came up in talking with people from St. Therese. So our neighbors right across the street, a lot of them are former farmers in the community, and I'll just be candid, I don't like community gardens because they're challenging to manage from my past role. But I also love community gardens because of the ways that they help provide opportunities for people to build community, those who otherwise can't. So from a management perspective, they can be challenging. But from a community building perspective, they're remarkable. And so that was those three components. The public safety infrastructure are those things that were on that second or third slide before that talked about evidence storage, detainee operations, and how we deal with the three. That's the 5,000 public safety infrastructure. And then the last part, like I said, is just a replication of the state bonding request. And the language of both of those submissions, so one legitimate question would be, what happens if we were to get a windfall and to get both of them, and to get 10 million in state bonding and 10 million in community project funding? The way that they're written is we have a degree of flexibility that would allow us to move to cover things that support that facility that were not necessarily in our vision for it specifically at the time when we wrote it, because there is flexibility in the way that it was written. So some examples that I'd give is a regional training infrastructure site needs locker rooms. They were not within the scope of the request because we're going to need to build locker rooms within our facility anyway. This could be a way that we could enhance the locker rooms that for our needs, that could also supplement and support. So that's maybe not the best example, but I hope that helps frame it in an understanding way. So
We have flexibility with it.
there's flexibility that if we were to get the windfall of both of them, I'm confident that we could find ways to utilize those resources. And then last, the congressionally directed spending, I actually did some deep research to figure out within the scope of our full campus project, what would align or be allowed under the restrictions of congressionally directed spending. The only project that was eligible was this regional emergency operations center. It's important to note that that is part of the state bonding request, it's part of the community project funding request, and then this is a standalone. Of the West Metro Regional Training Facility proposal, that is the one that has the greatest regional impact for sure. And we have some of our partners that don't even have agencies, don't have police departments that have written letters of support because they recognize how that would help their city or their agency. Any questions about external funding? Okay. These are the 12 regional partners that submitted, and you just see the dispersion there of where they come, primarily from the west, but not just from the west. And then these are the 4 components. An indoor firearms range. This says scenario-based virtual training, but it's beyond just scenario-based. It's actually called augmented reality. And so there's a virtual component of it, but there's also multifunctional space. So what that means is, think of it like a giant Lego room. So you can build a space in order to have a physical experience in the space as you go through, which helps with muscle memory, enhances the training experience, and it complements the virtual training capacity or scenario-based virtual capacity. So that's the augmented component of it.
Can I add one other thing?
Please.
As far as the regional partners, I've had several chiefs reach out to me, talk about the impact and the positive things for this. Most of that support are in communities like ours. it might take away opportunities for them to get other state funding for themselves as we're trying to compete for that. So I just want to make sure that you're aware of how those conversations go, and that we do have overwhelming support in our area, but most of that lies north-south.
The specialized canine facility, this doesn't currently exist in the state. And so what that could mean, so we just had a conversation today with one of the state's premier trainers, trained our canine team, and just asked about clarifying both the need as we understood it, the benefit that it would be to us or to other neighboring agencies, and really trying to get to the why. So this came up as an idea, and as it came up, it's gotten a lot of traction with a lot of positive feedback from all of our partners. But we wanted to validate it with somebody who works in this space every day. And what they said was, it does not exist in the state. If we were to do this, they would be very interested in partnering with us, and then even discussing things in terms of not just becoming a training site, but they have trials, is what they call them. So becoming a center of gravity in the professional space that's positively influencing this component of the profession. And when we started talking about the footprint that it would take, it could operate on what would be the less than absolutely desirable space of the 11 acres that we have. It would take up roughly about an acre. And then that space for that acre could also be used for other training things besides just the canine training. So that was a really helpful conversation to somebody who works in that space to help me understand why it could matter. Yes, sir?
So this specialized canine facility, now we have one dog, right?
Yes.
So I assume that the majority of the use will be canines that are not Corcoran canines, right? Other departments.
Yes.
So is this facility going to generate revenue for the city?
That would be the intent.
Yeah.
So to begin with, at some point, so to begin with, if we receive state dollars, the revenue that we would generate would be directly related to the expenses we incur. So if it makes sense, there would be a user fee that would equate to what it costs to run. So if it costs us $10 and we only have 10 other agencies that are using it, or 9 other agencies that are using it, we're one of 10, everybody pays $1 in order to keep the lights on. But also at some point, as it continues to grow, this person who's an expert said, this is going to become a lightning rod.
Yeah,
And
I think that would be it.
And so it's not going to be a matter of who's going to come. He almost alluded to, you'll be able to set your price. And I'm like, well, that's not the intent. But to answer your question, there's recognition that there's the potential for that. At the very least, the expectation would be to cover the costs.
Not
So
just
what is it-
these folks that are regional, I'm sorry, not just these supporters, it'd be a possible regional site for canine training.
It'd be the only one in the
It would be the
state.
only one in the state. So
Well,
we would have people from
right.
all over the state coming,
And outside the state.
Potentially.
potentially,
Yep,
for trials and those sorts
cool.
of things.
You said it's unique in the state. What is it? What is the site going to be able to do that isn't duplicated anyplace else?
Well, there is no other site that
That's
exists.
what I
So,
mean.
yeah.
So what is it?
So what it would offer is, for example, right now when they have to do trials, what he explained is they do them at schools. So when they do certifications, because there's a parking requirement and then there's open space requirement. So right now it's a pop-up in play for some of it, and then there's 2 regional airports that serve as significant training sites. This would not preclude them. They still go and they do a lot of training specific at other locations that enhance the experience of the training. That would continue to occur, but then they would come here. So the vision that we discussed today would be a shelter of sorts that would have some storage capability for the different, what do they call the different products that?
Yeah, depending on what they're working on, but as far as like article searches or narcotic searches, the different equipment to support it. So the largest volume of space would actually be an outdoor space, and then with some kind of an outdoor shelter that might have bathrooms. If you think of similar similar to a park pavilion at ball fields. It would have bathrooms, it would have cover from rain and snow, and then some storage spaces for the equipment for that. They would also then be able to overlay and use some of the other training facilities like the range or the classrooms, but the canine specific parts of it is largely outdoor space. Think volume would be similar to the size of a football field in geographic space, with a park pavilion style that could be, you know, kind of the home base for where the different activities can occur. So they would set up different areas of that space in different ways to accommodate whether they're working on tracking, or whether they're working on bite work, or whether they're working on article searches, and being able to move that space around.
Being able to bring vehicles onto by the shelter in order to do vehicle searches.
Okay.
Different types of vehicle searches.
So it's more of a modular space, not like a big agility space or something like that?
It would not be an agility
Okay.
space at all.
Thank you.
And then some other things that I asked about that were really instructive. I was like, oh, wow, you know, classes, approximately 20 teams on average, multiple times a year. So if we were able to do that, how many kennels do you need? And he was reminding, he said, 0, you don't want kennels.
Yeah.
Because these are canine teams, and they operate out of their vehicles.
So beautiful.
So you don't, that's not, I was thinking kennels and runs, and he's like, no, that's not what we need to
And we
train.
heard that while touring other facilities too, from other city halls where they had kennels, and they said if we
They
were
don't use
redoing it, we wouldn't put these in because we never use them, because they're trained to keep the canine in the car all the time, so, and they were all empty every time we went there.
And then that last component of the shared emergency coordination, Corcoran during COVID became a central spot, collaborating with kind of the county for the rest of the region. And then we've seen that kind of happen with other regional emergencies. So those relationships already exist. That would just codify those relationships and then also create a space in which you could have interoperability in terms of technology and communication that we do well with our little space, but we fill that space up pretty fast. So having a larger space, and we looked at, I don't know, half a dozen different EOC models, and what we've been talking about, I think will provide a lot of flexibility, but there's some things that I hadn't thought about if you actually have, and this goes back to my time in the Army, if you have a real world emergency, you need a space to step away from the activity that's happening in the EOC and have a conversation, sometimes to make decisions that are being impacted by there. We don't really have a great capability of that now, but that definitely is something that needs to be considered. And then the other thing, we kind of do it off the bat right now, but when you have that many people that are doing 24-hour ops, you need coffee, you need a refrigerator with water, like so some sort of kitchenette. So.
Pizza oven.
Yep. This point at the top, that 70% of departments in Minnesota have fewer than 20 officers. I thought that, and it was a striking fact when it was briefed to the committee when we were up at the Capitol, that those who are coming from larger cities, that they don't really grasp that, and that is definitely the character when you look at that snapshot of our regional partners. All of them fall into those categories for the most part.
Here to the west, a little bit north and south, and all the way out there, it's all that.
Any questions about this? Yes, sir.
Any complaints about the name of the facility?
Yes.
Since it's a police training
Yeah.
facility?
Yeah,
So,
we weren't thrilled with it.
yeah, so the.
I would change it.
I think we can.
So in what went to the House and the bill, that wasn't included in the language of it, thankfully. We did not like that
Who
suggested
came up
name.
with that?
I'm not going to say.
We proposed different names, and the other ones that I think we liked a lot better. I can tell you with certainty that we won't operate a facility by that name.
Yeah, I didn't think you would. I kind of like Heritage Park Facility.
Next slide.
That's my favorite.
So this just is a snapshot of what could happen in a regional emergency operations center. It's key for coordination, it enhances public safety, and it protects vulnerable more and more activities happening, other partners coming in at different levels, and the ability in order to synchronize those efforts becomes even more and more important. Any questions on this one? So this was the 3.6 million roughly of the civic space. You'll see a rendering there. As we went to different facilities, this is kind of an idea that staff had. This would be the intergenerational commons or community room. And in this rendition of it, you see like a little kitchen to the left of the fireplace. But having a space that overlooks the council chambers allows to be able to leverage that as an overflow room if necessary. So it becomes a real helpful multi-use space. Also, one of the things that I think we've become convinced about as we looked at different facilities is having the council chambers on the second floor. Those that we saw, operationally it really helps because that space isn't activated all the time. And so to put that much space right at the heart of the areas that you're trying to activate, and then having adjacent to that, like I said, leveraging the intergenerational commons so that you can mutually benefit from that space. And there's the descriptors of those 3 different submissions. Any questions? Okay. So this is our glide path to proactive communication. We still have 3 remaining just regular open houses, and then August 4th is the Night to Unite, our culminating big open house. We are working towards schematic design in order to be able to have that information so that we can give the best information to the public on that Night to Unite night, and get that information out to our neighborhood parties as well, so that as we're going out to visit them, we can have that engagement and those conversations. And the video, that 90-second video was just shared with you earlier tonight. So we have 3 real tracks that staff is trying to manage. One is the design track, and right now we've got a concept, but we really need to get to more detailed information, because the detailed information then helps you identify some of those things, like it's not just square footage, but what sort of finishes do you want, because that determines your cost per square foot. Those sorts of details come out of the schematic design process. The engagement track keeps us on track to be able to have that conversation with that information by the Night to Unite night. And then the funding track, tonight, the resolution is asking for approval to go forward with professional services contracts for architecture and construction manager. We're going to talk a little bit more about that, but why that's important to keep us on track both with funding and with our public messaging and our understanding of the project. Any questions about this slide? Okay. And this just spells out what could happen if we don't go forward with a construction manager's agent and the architect. It causes some, we don't have the clarity of information that we need in order to make the decisions that have to be made, and it potentially, if we are to get some of that funding, it jeopardizes the glide path that's necessary to secure that funding. And this is just a visual about, it's a 3-pronged chair for our partners in terms of this process. So this would be staff's recommendation for this evening, and this goes to the resolution, would be to approve us to move forward with contracts with BKV Group as our architect.
I'll make that motion.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Passes unanimous.
And this is the last picture, and Councilmember Varenkamp, I put a duck on the pond just for you.
Good.
And he did. He told me about it when he did it.
It's a duck, not a loon. I love it.
That looks
No,
like a,
you're not right, though.
looks like a
Yeah,
3-story.
just wait till
Pretty
the
good.
dogs are there. Poor
So
Lou.
the center, it looks like,
Pretty darn
but that center room has a higher roof.
Gotcha.
It's not a 3-story building. All right, well, that's all I have this evening.
It's great to dream. Thank you for the dreams. Let's see what we can do to make it all work out.
Can we clarify the motion? I think the motion was made after the mention of the architect, but we did include Kraus, wasn't specifically named. The actual request tonight is for two professionals.
Yep, just to clarify, was the intent, Mark, to, approve
Everything on that
resolution
slide.
2026-31?
Yes, authorizing engagement of professional services contracts.
Who seconded it? Dean, was
did.
that also your intent?
Yes,
Everyone who voted, was that your intent?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
Good deal.
thank you.
Thanks, John.
Okay. What do we have now? No new business, staff reports.
So first, Mayor and Council, I'd request that the council create or generate a personnel committee to talk about some personnel policy issues that have come up so that we can have discussion and move towards resolution to be prepared to address some of the questions that council has related to personnel policies.
All volunteer.
I can jump on too, if it's an option.
What timeline are we looking at?
So Mayor and Council, preferably sooner rather than later, because there's some policy issues that, so as soon as possible, candidly.
Think. Okay. I mean, I think I should probably be part of that, and have been in the past. Both of you have been parts of different aspects of it. I don't know how I wanna,
I'd like to make a nomination for Councilor Member Nichols to be one of the committee members.
okay.
So many cooks. Such a small kitchen.
In blah, blah, blah. I don't know, how do we wanna settle this? Fist fight?
Councilmember Nichols hasn't made his desire known.
I would be willing to do it. I think the last thing that was similar to this was when we were talking about how to best provide retention incentives for the police. And in that case, I think it was Councilor Baldema and I. I think I had volunteered for academic reasons, and John had a longer history of negotiating with the police contracts. So does anybody have any special skills or background that would be useful for this specific committee? That's how I would decide.
I think you all do as part of it. I mean, so you, Mark, you and I did the CBA. Dean, you've typically been personnel committee with me in the last couple years.
Yeah, yep.
Like you said, you did the thing with John. I don't know what to call that.
Retention.
Retention.
Yeah, the matrix, so that we could not recreate without cloning John's brain also in there.
Could you have more than two council members? Because it's
No.
going to be an open, it has to be open meetings anyways, because it's a committee.
No, not if it's two.
Mayor and council, the intent here, I believe, is to create a subgroup of the council that is not empowered as a committee. They would just be an advisory body, so that it would not be subject to open meeting law.
Right.
If you add a third member, you would be.
Right.
Yep.
Isn't any committee that council establishes subject to open meeting law?
Not if it's less than a quorum, or less than a voting majority.
You're using the term committee, and committee is listed in the open meeting law as something that would be, but definitionally, the committee is given some empowerment, right? So people will use the term committee, but it's not really a committee. It's just a subgroup of the larger body.
Okay,
It's
I misheard
not-
then. I was thinking he said personnel committee.
I think that was the term used, but the intent
Okay.
is not to empower this group of people to make a decision. It would be to advise the council.
That would be the intent.
Okay.
Makes sense. Yeah, I think called it subcommittee in the past. Neither here nor there, really. I don't know how, I think you guys all would be good at it. I don't know how to,
Can draw straws.
got the most interest.
Rochambeau.
Hard with 3 people.
Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
Trying to think if we have to, yeah, we probably do have to vote on this now.
Is there any staff on the committee or the advisory?
So,
Be meeting with
the
staff on this.
subcommittee would work with staff. So, my presumption would be, at the very least, the HR team and myself. And then there hasn't been a discussion of other, because HR has been doing the primary work on policy, so that would be the team. So Nalisha and Ryan would be the primary team.
And again, it is coming back to council for
Correct.
actual
That would be the
discussion
intention.
after it.
Yep.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
To take the heat off of us, what would that committee, who would that committee like to see out of all of us? Then we aren't arguing amongst ourselves.
I'm not gonna touch that
I
one.
think that's a really unfair question.
Chick,
That's a
chick,
staff member,
I
not
see
staff.
what you did there, sir, but
No.
that was not fair.
Well,
Well, let's go outside and wrestle. Last person standing.
draw a name
Is
from a
there an
box.
issue with that, Jen?
Do you wanna do by name vote in a hat? I don't have a hat.
I was thinking
Can I
even
pick the
simpler.
card?
What's that?
I said, can I pick the card? That just sounded fun.
Or everybody could write a name and submit it. That would be a different way to do it.
I was thinking, mix these up, put them in something, and I'll draw. Does that work?
Would I draw since I'm not in?
Sure, Michelle draws.
Okay.
Fold them.
She got your card, yeah.
Just trying to get engaged.
I don't have anything.
Just hold them out and she'll pick one out of your hand.
Oh, there you go.
The transparent.
That's exactly why. And the
Two, right?
one.
I congratulate us for not appointing a committee to select the committee.
Dean. There you go. That works.
And to the victor go the spoils.
Yes, the spoils of another meeting.
Happy to do it.
Alrighty. Do we need a motion for that subcommittee or
I don't think we need a motion.
Advisory group, we are supposed
advisory,
to call it
whatever you want to
committee.
call it? Now I gotta clean up my mess here.
Correct.
I threw out all the pens. Okay.
I think, aren't we supposed to, even for an advisory board, have a council vote for that, or not?
You don't have an annual appointment for it or anything. It's a group that's basically being created to deal with this kind of one-off issue. So if you intend it to be a group that you will go forward with, then it's probably appropriate to do it the same way you do your appointments. But
Okay.
because of the limited scope of this, you could do it either way.
Because I think last year, when we had the committee, it was more than just one issue. And the committee just, or the advisory board just continued to the next personnel thing.
Well, I don't believe we had a nominated board for this, and that was the reason for this vote, so.
Okay.
But you can do it either way.
Let's just do,
I got what I needed, which is some people to talk to in order to help us prepare to bring it back to council.
Okay.
So if there's not,
if we're all good with that, then good? Okay, good deal. I tore up my agenda.
Mr. Mayor,
wasn't well thought through.
I have two other things. One, can you please bring that up? Is an update.
Thank you.
This is important. I suspect that council is going to receive some questions about this. This has to do with the current status of the park, its implications on operations, and specifically our upcoming recreation programming. And so there's been some delays, particularly with the playground, if you recall, for a couple different reasons, because we had a change with the playground. So we originally thought it might be done in the fall. It is not done yet. As a result of that, that's created some challenges. And I'll turn it over for Natalie to talk to the rest of it.
So we want to give you an update on the plan for spring and summer programming specifically. We're trying to balance keeping programming and spaces available to the community that have lower risk, recognizing that we're balancing that with the high-risk construction area as well. So what has been proposed and working in collaboration with both Jay and Kevin today is that spring baseball would be limited to the east side with parking arrangements on the east side, and I will work with Jay JCB, or Jessica. I will work with Jessica on getting a plan in place that would get parking as organized as possible to make that work. And then for summer soccer, which starts in July, the west side will open up a little bit more because a couple things will happen. Most concerning will be the playground should be installed by the end of May. And so as part of that, and as part of the trail work finishing up as well, we will want to close off some of the areas that were recently seeded, but we do still have some fields up here to the north that were not impacted by this project for the most part at all. And so we want to get those open up for summer soccer. So that's our intent right now. There would be some snow fencing that would be required, and there will be a cost to that. I'm exploring how the community development budget can absorb some, if not all of that. But we are trying to make sure that not only is the western side having some availability for soccer, but also so that we can have the place as open as possible so people can enjoy the playground and the trail system this summer. So, yeah.
So off this map, just to, as you're gonna get questions, the intention right now is we need people to not go on the trail. Because if they go around the trail, it drops them into the parking lot right in the heart of an active construction site. And so we are gonna be closing off the trail on the north side so that people will stay off of the trail. And then we're also gonna have signage communicating that it's an active construction site, trying to keep them away from everything on the west side. Oops.
Sorry.
Because the building is gonna be done here relatively soon, but there's still a danger of little people's going into an active construction site. And so everything on the west side of Lions Field there to the south, going all the way north, if you just do that lower right-hand box, that space will be accessible. Nothing else is supposed to be activated in the park. Now that said, we continue to be a complaint-based code enforcement community. We don't have anybody actively keeping people out of the space, nor are we gonna hire anybody to do that. And so we're gonna do our best to communicate on social media, provide signage, and then it's gonna be at your own risk. And in order to try and mitigate some of that.
One correction though,
Yeah.
because our rec program coordinator is typically on site for soccer.
Yes,
And we have talked about as another mitigation factor during programming to have them also be on site during baseball as well to keep them from venturing to the west.
If they're already
But
there.
that would be a part of already the scheduled hours. We would just flex the hours to make the time work.
I was alluding to the fact that there's already people on the trail. It's beautiful.
Yeah, if we're out there, might as well just let them wander.
But we are gonna have signage, and that might create some confusion. The trail looks done to me. The boardwalk's gonna be done here soon. The reason is because we do not want them to be dumped into an active construction site. So our primary concern is public safety.
And when are we thinking that trail, you said the boardwalk part pretty soon?
Yeah, the
They'll
boardwalk.
be done with the playground in July.
No,
and-
May, end of May.
Oh, May, end of May.
Yeah.
And so with the spring soccer, we should be able to open it up later.
Okay.
And then we will have that orange fencing up to keep them off of the areas that we don't want them to go on because it needs to be protected, no traffic.
And this is a proposed fencing, so we're gonna work this out with the site contractor and in conjunction with Public Works as well. So this is just a mock-up for getting the general idea of where the seated areas are that we want to have as untouched as possible.
Sounds good.
We considered other alternatives to the point of even collaborating with Rockford School District and relocating. And the reality is, the reason folks that would go to Rockford School are signing up here in Corcoran is because they live in Corcoran. If they wanted to go do it in Rockford, they'd sign up in Rockford. And so we're trying to provide the best services that we can with programming, also ensuring the safety of the people that are participating.
Makes sense.
Just real quick, we've had the stuff blocked off and such, and the folks, I watch people kick it over and just walk by and stuff like that. What are we gonna do to make it a little bit more permanent, or it's the same thing we've had up and people drive through the orange stuff, pull stakes, do all kinds of things?
as far as programming, we are planning to have heavy communication both before the season starts, throughout the season, and we plan to have someone on site as well that can help guide people, especially if something that were to happen, so we can address it. As far as people doing that when staff isn't there, I think that that's unfortunately the risk of it, but we do our best to mark off the areas, provide signage, provide communication. We can't control for everyone, we can't control for people making silly decisions, but we do try to make the programming based off of reasonable behaviors.
And then the other question is the number of people using those ballparks for dog parks is
So
huge.
back to the code enforcement part, if you have a suggestion, I mean, but us hiring a full-time person to go and make them do it, turkeys are turkeys. I don't know how to make them.
Well, I understand.
Not be turkeys.
I'm looking more at those, there's people out there not picking up after their animals, doing those kind of things, and you don't need somebody sitting there monitoring it. You can just, somebody driving by, you sit and watch the people, whatever, they're loose on leash, it says on the sign, must be leashed, must be all of those things. Nobody's doing anything to enforce that stuff at all.
I do know that when Stevie is in the park throughout the summer, she definitely has had conversations with people when their dogs are off the leash and things like that. So it's more of when staff is on site.
Okay.
I think to Jay's point, as far as having someone that's regularly doing that, I think we have to identify where that would fit within the current scope of responsibility.
Just asking, the kids, I don't want them sliding through dog crap and everything else.
It's super frustrating that
way.
people would be so selfish and disrespectful. It communicates. And we've talked about potentially putting dog poop bags up there and putting trash cans, but the people who are behaving that way aren't going to grab it.
I know.
And we actually have real things that our police officers are doing in terms of taking care of safety of folks. And so for us to police it, I don't know how to have people behave morally and ethically.
If I had a suggestion, I'd tell you, it's happening. I go out there personally.
Shot collars.
I go out there personally and I've re-set up signs, I've restrung the orange fencing and all that stuff, and I've had people upset at me, this is closed, please stay out. Who are you?
Jeremy
I'm one of the city council members. I'm trying to keep you safe.
They're mad at you for putting it back
Oh,
on?
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
They've got mad at staff too.
Yeah.
There's not, in terms of what we can do, we don't have a lot of teeth, so even if we were to sell the police over there and have them do it, it's a misdemeanor with not a high fee, and they're just gonna go, okay, they'll just throw money at us. And we have a former council member that has a similar encounter with an active pooper.
Our public works folks mowing the grass and they're mowing piles of.
It's horrible.
It's awful.
So we used to have that problem in my neighborhood on the trails. And what seems to have happened is there were a few folks who were captured with photographs circulated on the neighborhood Facebook site.
That's true.
And the public shaming made it go away. And so you might want to think about, do you want cameras and maybe some kind of a posting process? When you have those kinds of violations, that gets posted periodically. Or you have a notice board or something like that.
So the Chaska Police Department has proactively adopted a public shaming policy. That's exactly what I call it. It hasn't been received well.
Of course not.
Yeah, well, just in terms of instead of people going, shame on you, you should correct your behavior, the angst has been directed
Towards the city.
Yep.
But from who? From the people who are being shamed or from the general public?
From the general public too.
Kind of,
Okay. From the general public going like, really, you don't have things better to do than this? And so if we were starting to post people up, it's not hard to imagine certain social media sites saying, really, that's all you have to do is take pictures of people's dogs taking a dump?
I think long-term solution, the best hopeful partial solution would be to build a dog park somewhere.
Stevie is anti-public shaming.
We're gonna make her do it on her personal social media. She'll call people, text it out. Mark, did you have some?
Would it be unreasonable to have them participate in a police taser training scenario?
That's a Thames question.
The only recent volunteer that I've seen was actually your son.
Yes.
It's true.
That was a great video.
This is great. Thank you guys for your efforts. I'll keep doing what I've been trying to do, and there's 3 dog owners I'll keep trying to correct.
Even to the point though, when we talk about creating a dog park, the folks who are behaving this way, they're not likely to go to the effort to go to the dog
They
park.
won't go to the dog park, they'll keep coming.
Like bad actors are bad actors. And to the point, like, what are appropriate, ethically appropriate levers for us to pull, to incentivize them? We can provide a positive enforcement with a dog park, but they're probably not gonna go to it, cause they're, who are you to tell me where I can and can't do what I do?
That's what
I think
did.
that's fair. I want it to be, make sure that we're not conflating that with reasons not to do a dog park also. Like,
Right.
I think there's other valid reasons, but I agree that the point you're making, that people that are doing it are probably not gonna go into the dog park.
It's sad that
But I would like
some of our folks are like this.
And I would say that there's a high potential that some of them are not Corcoran residents.
2 of them.
Yeah, that it might just be convenient.
You
Hopefully it's
can't
all
ban
dogs.
people from a public park, can you, for misbehavior?
Mr. Baines?
Um,
It's hard to enforce.
Technically, you-
Here's what so we
But
did
it is
experience,
complicated.
that in
But
Shakopee, in which we
trespassing
tried
is a higher severity
to
than
try to trespass somebody, the threshold to get to trespass them,
That's a
but
lot.
then to enforce it, and then what the repercussions are for enforcing it, the juice to squeeze ratio is really off.
Yep.
There's also some additional complications when you're talking about public property
Yeah.
as well. So,
That's why I asked.
so while you usually those notices that are temporary in nature are enforced, like a permanent ban from parks is probably gonna be difficult to enforce.
But temporary is permissible?
Well,
It'd still be a lot, it'd be a,
Yeah, for example, if there's disruptive behavior or something along those lines, you can have the person excluded for the remainder of the day. That there is precedent for that, but generally speaking, just a blanket, you are no longer welcome in city.
What about for the year?
The longer you go, the harder it is to enforce and defend.
Taser.
all right.
Also
Go back to the
discouraged.
shock collars, I like that.
Yeah. All right, anything else from staff?
Nothing else from staff, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, anything from council?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor.
Yep.
If you ever wanna keep JCB quiet, put a bunny hat on her head.
Oh, yeah.
She didn't say a word while she was dressed as the
We
Easter
just found
bunny.
this out now?
Yeah, it
Could have been
was,
using this technology for years.
it was absolutely glorious. She didn't say a word all while she was in the Easter bunny outfit at the Lions Park. Great event, ton of people, everybody did very, very well. Reminder Sunday is West Suburban's, fundraising pancake dinner, Hanover's pancake dinner, everything they had. Not Easter Sunday, but the Sunday prior was outstanding. We really have some cool people that take care of us when things go bad. So I ask everybody, make the trip and support West Suburban.
West Suburban, I think it's 8 to noon,
8 to
open
noon.
House,
Loretto
At the
Fire
Loretto Station,
Department,
yeah.
or Loretto Station, yep.
Medina Road.
Sunday,
Sunday.
Sunday, 8 to noon.
Sunday, 8 to noon. I think that's all I had.
Sounds good. Anyone else? Other than that, our next meeting is the 23rd at 7 o'clock. And then after that, we have the updated schedule with all the other stuff added in after that. We have cleanup day, early May. On the 28th, unfortunately, I'll be out of town, but the next civic campus engagement at Public Works. And then the following one, just right after that, on the 6th of May at St. Therese. And that's about it for the short term. With that, if there's nothing else,
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
all those in favor say aye.
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 Aye, we're adjourned.